Oh shit. For some reason I was muted the entire time.
And welcome on a Monday night to Generation Movie. Sorry we're running a little bit late. That is not their fault at all. It is all me. So you can yell at me in the comments if you want.
I'm going to yell at you because I was in the middle of the Emperor's New Groove.
Okay, then I've saved you.
Go away. Go away. I'm done. I'm going to hang up.
Okay, but welcome to Generation Movie on a Monday night in January. We've had Oscar nominations. All these exciting things have happened in the last couple of weeks, and we're getting ready to do some big things on the show. Sadly, this will be the last definite appearance by Natasha. We have to hope for whatever her schedule will allow going forward. She came in, she curated, she's causing trouble. She does all kinds of stuff.
But the beauty of it is a lot of times I'm not expected, and JW shows up, and I'm just sitting in the green room. So
yeah, that's always a surprise and a shock to me. That's true. That's true. But we're gonna go out with a really great movie tonight. It is this wonderful film by Regina King. Give me 1 second. It's right here. It's called One Night in Miami. It's about a fictional idea of what if on the night that Cassius Clay became heavyweight champion of the world, and the night where he declared that he was going to become Muhammad Ali to the world. What if Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, and Sam Cooke, four of the most influential African Americans in the history of the country, got together in a room in Miami to just kind of figure out where things lie with their lives, with their careers, with what they mean to their audience, with what they mean to America. And it's directed by a woman named Regina King, who's one of our most gifted actresses, both on television and movies. And so it's a really great movie. I'm excited about talking about it. And we're going to get into it. But we always start with some sort of news, some sort of kerfluffle, some sort of something going on in the world.
There's been news this week? Like good stuff?
The Ghostbusters trailer dropped today.
I haven't watched it yet.
The Ghostbusters trailer dropped today. It's pretty.
Okay, well,
it's pretty spectacular.
How about
it's
this?
I
will mute my camera until you give me a thumbs up, and that way I.
Rich, have you seen the Ghostbusters trailer?
I did nothing but watch that trailer this morning.
Of course he did. That's a stupid question to ask, JW. All
okay,
right.
so mute or whatever the hell you're gonna do.
Okay,
get out of here.
Speaker.
Give me a thumbs up when it's good to come back in.
Okay.
So
the Ghostbusters trailer dropped today. Natasha can't hear us. I mean, we could say all kinds of bad things about Natasha specifically, and she wouldn't even know.
Don't.
She wouldn't even know. We could be
It only mutes my camera. I can still hear you guys.
You can mute your audio on your laptop.
Oh, yeah, I can. Hold on.
Technologically advanced Natasha.
Okay, now can you hear us?
I don't. Can you hear us at all? No.
No.
Okay. So the Ghostbusters trailer dropped. It's fairly spectacular, Rich. I mean, it's got everybody. It's got old characters. It's got a returning villain who looks like he's in a very powerful position these days.
Honestly, my thought was, of course he's still there as a government toady 4 decades later, not bothering to make way for, younger people, and he's just very comfortable in his stupid government job.
I think he's mayor.
Oh, really?
I think he's mayor or a judge. It's one or the other, because they do the whole overturn, sustained. Like they do a whole kind of like weird Abbott and Costello riff, right? That's wild and wacky. I mean, Slimer's back, which is nice because he's always like when he popped up in the trailer, the smile and beaming across the faces of my 2 nephews. He's back. Where did he go? Like that was the other question. The question was not only is he back, but where did he go? Where does he go when he's not being used in a Ghostbusters movie? And that is why 6 and 7-year-olds are amazing. Where did he go? And if Paul Rudd isn't
I'm excited by the idea that we're going to delve into a little bit of like, we've been catching these ghosts. Let's study them now. Because, remember, these guys started off as scientists who were like, well, let's try to capitalize on what we know. And
right.
They
And
were
I think you have pretty ace casting, Kamal Nanjiani. You have Patton Oswalt. You have, it looks like it's going to be it looks like it's going to be good. And it looks like it's going to be like, Murray delivering the line of the trailer, which is kind of dirty, but also kind of amazing and true in every conceivable way. And then Janine Melnitz in a Ghostbuster outfit, which is just, Melnitz, and also rocking the outfit, also answering the phone properly at Ghostbuster headquarters.
Yes. Oh, that made me just like one giant goose pimple.
Answering the phone properly. Also, like, yes. Paul Rudd looks like he's having a blast.
Paul Rudd finally looks a little bit older than 22 too. I was
I think it's on point. Okay, some comments, and then Natasha, come on back in. We're done. Come on. She's not even paying attention. Come on. Ken McKernan says, good evening, friends. Good evening, Ken. You weren't gone. One of my favorite nights of the week. Good evening, lady and gentlemen. We'll miss you, Natasha.
Don't break my heart,
Joe. Play the trailer on air. Can we do that, Joe? Can we do that? Won't it hit? Can we play this?
You may get a YouTube copyright strike.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't... let's see. New Supergirl has been cast? Is that true?
Yes, it is. It's in the Hollywood Reporter. And there have been a lot of names being thrown around in the last couple of weeks. Up until like last week, it was down to 2 actresses. And today, James Gunn came out and said it's Miley Alcock from House of the Dragon, who will now be
seriously?
Kara. Yep. Will now be Kara Zor-El.
I don't know. Okay, so I like her very much, but the other girl in the running was very good too.
Who is the other girl?
God. Now that you're asking me, it's like can't remember where she was.
Meg Donnelly.
Yes, that's
what
it was.
What's your name?
Meg Donnelly.
Meg Donnelly from let's see. What is she from? She's from a lot of stuff. Meg Donnelly.
I'm pulling her up. The Disney Channel queen from Zombies and
she's from Zombies, but she's
Millie's a stronger actress.
Yeah, that's fine, but she doesn't look the part as much, but that's okay, I guess. We can work with it.
Change a physical look.
Yeah.
Dye someone's hair. You can blah 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 blah.
No, I don't think. No, we wouldn't have needed to dye her hair. She was literally the spitting image of the comic. So I think that's why she was in the running. You're probably right. The girl from House of the Dragon is fairly talented. So a lot of exciting.
Seen her version of the Crucible from National Theater Live. She played Abigail. She's really good.
Oh no, I have no doubt. I'm not saying it's not a. It's a strictly superficial thing at this point for me, and that's okay. I'll let it go. If it's on YouTube, play it. Okay, we can do that. Joe said so. I hope we don't get taken down over this. Be ashamed to waste all this wonderful.
No, one copyright strike, they would just demonetize this particular
episode.
Video. Yeah,
I don't know how this. I'm not. I stay away from stuff all the time. I don't even know how to do this. Hold on. What do I say?
Anyways,
whatever your next show is, practice and learn by then. Maybe not do this one now, but do whatever comes out next.
Actually, I was going to vamp for time while he tried to figure it out really quick.
Yeah, give me a second.
Vamp with what?
Miley Alcock, of course, is going to most likely be in Superman Legacy if they're casting her this early. They definitely have announced a Supergirl solo film as well. That will probably come along in about another 2 years. We'll see how well James Gunn keeps things interconnected with what he's planning. We don't have a real strong idea yet, outside of he's having a lot of characters, and I think we're kind of dropping into this new cinematic universe with a lot of these heroes already established, rather than sitting around and having to build slowly. It's kind of like the experience any comic book reader would have, just saying, okay, I want to start reading comics now. I want to start reading some DC comics. It's not that they go back to Action Comics #1 and then read chronologically from 1937 forward or whatever. So, yeah, I'm excited for her. I'm excited to see what she brings to the table.
I can't get it to work. Let's move on. Joe is
okay.
I will work on this for next week.
No problem sitting here drinking while Rich did all the vamping because he does it so naturally. He could talk forever, and I could just sit here and be like, yep.
Sony wants this shirt. Joe, send it to me in my Facebook thing. We'll try to get it up and running. Give me 1 second.
Sundance just wrapped up this past week. I saw a whopping 2 movies because they've gotten really stingy on their at-home accreditation, and I've never been able to get it, unfortunately. So I, this year, just due to finances, I only bought 2 remote tickets, and one of them was for a movie called Union, which is about the year-long struggle that employees at the Amazon sorting facility at JFK Airport went through in order to get a union there, becoming the first Amazon location to unionize. It's really great. You'll probably never see it on Amazon Prime because it does not paint a nice picture of Amazon right now. And seeing as how when I sat down to watch our film for today a little earlier this afternoon, I got hit with that Amazon Prime is now. Oh
yeah, how about that?
If you want to watch stuff.
That's what I got too. I was like, what the hell?
So I'm not above talking a little shit about Amazon right now.
Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it?
Talk about a movie that is distributed primarily by them.
Yes, it's a great film, and I'm going to encourage people to watch it. But at the same time, screw you, Amazon, for suddenly charging me $3 more a month just so I can watch.
The easier way to get around that is you can always go buy the Criterion.
That's true.
That's true. You can do that.
But I'm talking in general, just to watch anything on Amazon now. So it's either
it was a weird. It was a weird it was a weird moment today where it was like. I realize I'm not tech savvy. That's what this is. This is just horrible.
It's been like 4 or 5 minutes already.
I'm working. Give me a second.
Or we can move on. Figure it out for the next show.
Well, no. Okay, open it in a window. Wait, Joe is walking me through this. Open it in a window. Make sure to check off with audio. Okay, open it in a window.
I'm not drunk.
Make sure to check off with audio. And then what do I do? Joe, we're going to have to teach me how to do this. If we can run trailers on stuff, I will be running old-timey movie trailers all the time if we won't get hit with a thing. Open it in a window. In StreamYard, hit share screen. What the hell is that? That's wild. Wild and wacky, I say. Hold on.
Live media, ladies and gentlemen. Live media.
Live media. It's beautiful, really.
This close to going and grabbing my jar of blackcurrant jelly with a spoon and just sitting here and eating it.
I don't think that that's as big a turnoff as you think it's going to be. What? I mean, I'm not talking about me, but I'm just talking in general. Joe, we'll do it next time. I can't figure this out unless you just want to. Tell you what, Joe, you pop in and you share it, and I will.
Okay.
You come in and you can figure out a way we can do this. Anyway, but let's. What are you eating now? Are you eating cookies?
Malamars, the greatest cookie of all time.
No, come on. The greatest cookie of all time is vanilla wafers. No. Actually, just Nilla wafers. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's get back to business. But these are big decisions that are happening.
The last year.
And Ken's not allowed to have cookies, and you're just ruining his life.
Here.
Thank you. That's Saltburn level torture is what that is.
He's living vicariously through me. I have to at least let him see what it looks like on the inside.
I think that's a weird statement. Anyway, let's go to production. It's a good time to do that. I think the most interesting thing about this is where we're at right now, production-wise, with actors becoming legit directors. Like, we have directors that were always destined to be directors. And we have this newfangled thing happening in Hollywood right now where legit actors are starting to become legit directors when they're given the opportunity. And I think that's one of the big things that we were looking at with the production. Would you guys agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
As of this morning, there was a trailer released for a movie called Monkey Man.
Can't wait.
Directed by Dev Patel. Like, literally, I saw it.
Produced by Monkey Paw Productions, which doesn't get any better. Produced by Jordan Peele, of course.
Yeah, but
anytime
my mind was, it wasn't, as I was watching, I'm like, oh, Dev Patel's acting great. It's a lot of Bollywood actors. This is really cool. And then it says, as part of the promotion, from director Dev Patel. And I was like, what?
He's been doing a lot of good work since Slumdog Millionaire, and he's putting his touch on a lot of things. But it is something that's kind of a newfangled thing. It is something where it's, I mean, actors have always wanted to direct, but I think there is a much bigger pool of directors right now in Hollywood, especially when you open it up to women of color and making them women. It especially opens it up to, tell stories that we may never get a chance to see. So I think when you look at the production, this is based on a stage play. They get the rights to the stage play. They jump in, they film it very fast. It gets picked up by Amazon, right? Mm-hmm. Amazon, is kind of playing with it, looking at it. And basically she went and got actors that she's worked with or knows personally. So we get Kingsley Benadir, who Marvel fans will know from Secret Invasion, where he got absolutely nothing to do.
Or Barbie, where he danced like a toddler. It was great.
Yes, and he's about to have another biopic
Bob
or
Marley.
a slice of life biopic coming out in February about Bob Marley. You have Eli Gorey, Aldous Hodge, Leslie Odom Jr., who is amazing as Sam Cooke, and Lance Reddick in lead roles. The late great Lance Reddick. It's quite a thing when you can assemble a cast of this caliber actors, and they're all playing what I would imagine for a lot of the people in the movie are heroes. Because these are people that did a lot of important things in this country. I mean, Jim Brown walked, like, on a day after we're celebrating the NFL, the day after we're celebrating, the ratings that were through the roof for the 2 championship games, and, the lying, stealing, cheating thieves, Chiefs getting into the Super Bowl. Wow. This is a movie. Yeah, I hate the Chiefs.
I'm not going there.
This is they're a terrible, vile team with a terrible, and now they have Taylor Swift, the power of Taylor Swift.
We're here to talk about movies, not about football.
But Jim Brown is movies and football. Boom! Natasha's speechless. That's a win. Next
time I'll suggest we watch Invincible.
The Eagles are terrible. Eagles and their fans.
I'm out.
Oh, come on.
Anywho.
What I like about this production is, as you noted, it's based on a stage play.
Yes.
However, it was based on the stage play by Kemp Powers, who also did the screenplay here. So he really opened this up, and at no point, even though, we spent a lot of time in that hotel room, he gets us out of there enough. I mean, we spend a lot of time out of there before, we get to the hotel. With various, the four main characters doing other things and how they all come there. And then even while we're there, we still get out. We're in the parking lot. We're at the liquor store down the road. We're back in the parking lot. And it never once feels stage bound. And I
think that's a really great point.
The script for opening it up like that. And also to Regina King for just managing, even when we're in that room for a while, she keeps the camera moving. There's a lot of things happening. There was one thing kind of, I was like waiting for it to happen and it never did. When Malcolm steps out of the room for a moment and they pull out the flask and then they throw it back into the nightstand table. I was really waiting for someone to find that, for him to find that later and get mad about that.
Like a MacGuffin, but Sam Cooke actually delivers it perfectly. Yeah. Sam Cooke, how are you going to celebrate? He's of course becoming Muslim tomorrow. And Sam Cooke's like, not if you smell his breath over the last 2 hours.
I love that line.
It's a great line. I think the interesting thing is, I also like, and I don't know if it's in the stage version. I've never seen the stage version. I would be interested to see the stage version.
Oh, same here.
I'm curious if, they all have little vignettes bringing us to the one night in Miami, right? The production, the way the screenplay is set up is everybody gets a brief moment at where they are on the totem pole in the world. So the script is really, really kind of it's like a bullseye. It hits on the outer and then it hits on the inner and it just works really well. The vignette with Jim Brown is really heartbreaking. It has a great Beau Bridges kind of cameo / I don't know if it's a cameo you really want to be, like a stuck in the wool racist is the best way to put it. Brown, that's a heartbreaking moment. He's sitting out on the front porch.
I think is the way to put it, because he's a racist who leads him to believe that he's on his side and he understands and he's
but he still can't come
there.
out.
And then all of a sudden it's like,
that was a gut punch.
Remember what you are, kind of thing.
I'm going to go help my granddaughter move some furniture. And you have Jim Brown, future football Hall of Famer, offering to help you, and you're like, no, I can't. We don't allow the N-word into the house. You know that, Jim. get to stepping. You know, like it's mind blowing. Malcolm X, of course, at this time was also going through a very bitter Nation of Islam civil war with Elijah Muhammad. You know, and Muhammad Ali was just 22, living life, heavyweight champion of the world, screwing around in the ring.
I'm so pretty.
I'm so pretty. Actually, and it's on a weekend where I celebrated professional wrestling. I love that the script talks specifically about Muhammad Ali's frank love of wrestling. He loved professional wrestling, and there's the whole segment about Gorgeous George. About like so are you telling me that 300 people pay to boo a man? You want to be the villain? No, I'm just saying I think he's really good at what he does. You know what I mean? And you know, me coming off a weekend where I was definitely doing that, booing villains and cheering heroes. So it's a real interesting thing. And I think that the script is well done. There isn't anything flashy with regards to editing or art direction or anything. I mean, they get the contemporary, they get the right style of things, certainly. And there isn't anything really flashy cinematography wise, but she knows who to focus on, and she, like, the way the camera moves, kind of like it sweeps around the room, waiting for the next dust up, is kind of the way I viewed it today. Like, she's waiting for somebody to say something that's going to offend someone somewhere. You know what I mean? And when it hits, camera goes to that, it spins to that person, and then it's just playing off, like, you know. And the script is really good, though. It's got a lot of things to say. It also has really interesting historical facts left and right, like Sam Cooke talking about the British invasion, Sam Cooke selling Muddy Waters to Rolling Stone and making sure that every African American who was responsible for that particular song got money for it. You know what I mean? And also the really great Sam Cooke performance that occurred on The Tonight Show.
One of the things I love about this, you mentioned that there's no flashy photography.
No, yeah.
It's very character driven in a way that is looked at in terms of, this was at one point a stage play. We don't want to take that away from this. We want to make it film, but we want you to understand where it originated.
Joe was in the green room for a few minutes. I'm sorry, Joe. We got talking. I'm so sorry. We got talking about the movie. I feel terrible. Anyway, we'll move on.
Sorry.
Yeah, I feel bad though because I didn't notice him. I didn't notice him. That's on me. Everything's on me tonight. I can't download it.
Supposed to be in this?
No, he was coming in to show me how to do the Ghostbusters trailer, but we're past that now. We've moved on. We'll learn how to do it next week. We have things to do. But you're right. I think the character focus is interesting. I think how the men move, they all move with this, like a machismo, like it's kind of a neat thing. Like the way Jim Brown looks is totally different from the way Sam Cooke moves. The way Malcolm X moves is totally, like, what you can tell is that Regina King has sat down with her actors, really gotten into the heads and roles of the characters.
The way I see, and you're right, and I can break that down based off of how they walk. So Jim Brown is the most relaxed of them all.
Yes, the best line he has is, "I'm sorry, I'm not going Muslim. I like white women too much."
Have you tried my grandmama's pork chops?
Have you tried my grandmama's pork chops? There's no way. And I like white women. It's like, that's Jim Brown.
Malcolm X walks with so much frustration and yet still so much purpose behind it. Every move he makes is very deliberate. Actually, the one who peacocks the most happens to be Sam Cooke.
I think Muhammad Ali, I think Gory peacocks a little bit. Like, he has to. He's the youngin' in the room. He's the kid in the room. Also, he is the heavyweight champion of the world. Cooke is very much...
Though. He's just boastful. There's a difference. Peacock is more, I'm more flashy, I'm more showy, I'm more dandy.
I just want to hear declared. You're saying you feel Sam Cooke in life was more flashy than Muhammad Ali?
I'm looking at just how these characters are played.
I got you. Okay.
Characters only.
I think Cooke is playing a relaxed, I know who I am performance. I think Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, Cass.
Oh,
I like how they call him Cass. I love that they call him. Everybody calls him Cass. Because I love shortening names to nicknames. I think that's the greatest thing in the world. My nephew's 6, and his name's Caleb, and I'm not a huge fan of the name, to be honest.
Cal.
But I love Cal. I think Cal works. Cal is like a winner. Anyway, I think the production
I was
is
looking at a name today. I was looking at Calliope, and I was thinking of Cal. So.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I think there is a subtleness to her direction. There is also a piece of her direction where the actors get to really dig in, and I think is something that is kind of like a calling card for these movies that are created by actors. The actors really get to chew. They really get fed in these movies where actors are directing other actors, because it's kind of like, I know what you want, I know what you need, let me get you going. I was wholeheartedly impressed by the entire ensemble, but I think the one that got me the most, the one that Kingsley Ben-Adir is so good as Malcolm X, and all the trailers that have come up for the One Love movie that's coming out. I've seen it. I've seen that particular trailer. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I've seen that particular trailer every single time I've been at the movies in the last 6 weeks. So if I've gone to the movies 100 times, I've seen that trailer every single time.
I saw it more during the fall, and then there was a drop off around November.
Okay. Well, because they had different trailers around, but I've seen it every single time it's been attached. But here's the thing. I hadn't seen this movie, and I had seen Secret Invasion. And if you've seen Secret Invasion, all the stuff you're hearing about this kid who's going to play the villain, and he gets there and it's a blah role. And now I'm seeing him 2 different things where he's actually looks like he's chewing and having a good time. And it makes me sad that they totally got the Secret Invasion thing wrong. If that's a little nerdy, but that's the truth. And Rich and we talked about it.
He was great in Secret Invasion in the first 2 episodes, and then it felt like it
just got muddled. Yeah, it just got muddled. And the thing is, but everything I was hearing was like, oh, this is one of the great young actors, and I can't believe they put him in this, and there's no charisma to it, right? And then you watch this, and he's trying to take care of his family. He's trying to take care of, he may have ulterior motives of why he's trying to get Cassius Clay to join the Nation of Islam. He may not. It may be because he really just wants to help him. He has the most to do. And Sam Cooke has the emotional weight, because I think when they get to that part where they're talking and he's like, Sam, the reason I'm so disappointed in you is because you have the loudest microphone. You could be the one that changes it for us all. And he's like, and then Sam Cooke wants to punch him. But anyway, but the production is, there's no stories in the production history that lead to the idea there's any trouble in set. Looks like it went smoothly. Looks like Regina King came in, prepared, shot her shots, had the script. I do like that the script has the little vignettes that takes us through the characters, where they're at leading up to the night in Miami. You know what I mean? Like we have, the Wembley Stadium sequence with Muhammad Ali. You have the Malcolm X sequence where he's just deciding what he wants to do, talking to his wife, who's basically calling out everything that's wrong. Sam Cooke kind of like going to the Copacabana and kind of just falling.
So cringy.
It's so brutal. And then Jim Brown with the horrible thing about you can't go home again, even when you've rushed for 1,863 yards. Okay. So production is not really, and again, there's no stories about somebody hated somebody, which is usually my bread and butter when I track down those stories. I love like, that movie turned out great. What the hell happened? I don't know, but they hated each other. It was great. Nothing here. Nothing but respect for Regina King. Now, box office. This is gonna be a quick one, kids. It only got a release for 1 week. Because as is the case with Amazon, when they were acquiring these movies during the pandemic, or offering to make these movies during the pandemic, they would only make the prerequisite offers if a movie had an Oscar chance or whatever. So it had a premiere at the Venice Film Festival on September 7th, 2020. Also screened Toronto International Film Festival, one of the best in the world. It was the runner-up for the People's Choice Award at the Toronto Film Festival. It screened in Zurich, London, the Hamptons. I don't know why they're all like Zurich and the Hamptons are together. Mill Valley, Middleburg, Chicago, Montclair. And then Amazon basically acquired the rights. They did a limited theatrical release on December 25th, 2020, followed by the streaming release on January 15th. And it only premiered at the Landmark Theater at Merrick Park in Miami. And it went nationwide to theaters on January 8th. But it was only a week prior to the streaming release, so it didn't get anything. But what we can talk about, and Natasha must read my notes or something, the key to this one is it is one of the very few Amazon movies that has a Criterion Collection release.
Yes.
It came out in September of 2021. It came out December 7th, 2021. But basically, it's one of the very few movies that the Criterion Collection chose to have which is for film buffs, for film aficionados. If you get a Criterion release, that is, probably the tops of the archival charts, right?
Well, Criterion has always stated that their job is to kind of try to highlight certain films for conservation. That things like, say, the Smithsonian or AFI or something like that are not going to grab. And they do have some overlap, but obviously they want to grab things that aren't maybe as well known.
Well, and also,
You're not going to choose Star Wars. It's out there. It's very popular. You can grab it really quickly.
I think the key here is we can all agree that the new Roadhouse isn't going to get.
Let's not talk about that. We're
premiering on Amazon.
Let's not talk about that.
I think it looks good. I don't care what anybody says. I'll fight to the nail on that one. Anyway,
but that being said, so with Criterion picking this up, I was very impressed because I remember seeing the announcement when it happened. This was probably a couple of weeks right after the Oscars, and they had picked up a couple of films that year. So within that past year, they had picked up from streamings movies like The Irishman, Marriage Story, Parasite, but nothing from Amazon, I believe, from the 2019 section. But then we showed up for the pandemic time, and it was like Drive My Car and One Night in Miami, and there were a couple that were chosen. This happened to be one of them. Which
Coda
one?
was one. Coda got picked.
Coda.
Really? I don't remember the release of Coda.
Is there a Coda?
Coda and Sound. What was it? Sound of Metal.
Sound of Metal was. I don't remember Coda getting picked up though. It should be.
Wait, this is the rare case where Rich could be wrong about something. We have to check it.
I remember Sound
Hold
of Metal.
on. Rich is never wrong. I make mistakes all the time. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. I 2024 Sundance Awards, the Criterion Collection. No, that's current. Does Coda have a Criterion release?
While he's trying to figure that out, I just want to talk a little bit about this. I remember that it received at least 3 nominations for Academy Awards. 2 I can remember off the top of my head. Leslie Odom Jr.'s performance as Sam Cooke, as well as original song for Speak Now. Speak Now is a fantastic song.
And it got nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay by Ken Powers.
Thank you very much.
Those are the 3. Yeah, Leslie Odom Jr. for Supporting Actor, Ken Powers for Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Original Song, Leslie Odom and Sam Ashworth are the 3 nominees. So, she was on the short list, though. I will say that she didn't get nominated, but it was one of the top 10 movies of the American Film Institute that year. So, she should have.
This is not a loud movie. And because it is not a loud movie, it oftentimes does not drive a lot of audience members to want to see it.
That's fair. I think that's fair. It's the opposite of loud. It's the characters can be loud, but it's more of a character piece. Yeah. Critical response now and then. We, of course, on the show use Rotten Tomatoes, a metric, not just a way to look at things, but to give an idea of a moment in time when a movie came out. 345 reviews for this movie on Rotten Tomatoes. An astonishing 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. And this is one of the rare occurrences, though, where a movie that is widely loved by critics is only moderately loved with over 1,000 ratings by audience. 78%, which is high. It's very high. But what I would say is the critical reviews all touch on, the subtlety of the directing, the idea. I think one of the best reviews, one of the reviews basically said, usually we get really caught up in historical accuracy. Things are moved and shift around it here, but really it embraces the spirit of the time and the characters. The idea that sometimes when we're trying to tell a story that's historically accurate, there's so, do you guys have the funny moment when you're watching a movie when it's based on actual events, based on a true story, based on events?
I'm a little bit familiar with Sam Cooke's music just because I love, all that 60s Motown stuff, rhythm and soul. And obviously we are working under the fictional conceit that these 4 guys hung out for a couple of hours in a hotel room that night, which, even the play says, this is, we're just, this is not true. They did not hang out. But everything
theoretically it could have happened is what the movie says.
Everything about Sam Cooke here feels right. He was upset that he that he hasn't been able to write a song that
had as much power as, say, blowing in the wind.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And but then he did go on to write A Change Is Gonna Come. He did premiere it on the Johnny Carson show, on the Tonight Show. And sadly, like almost every moment of the Johnny Carson show from the 1960s, it's gone. It's just lost. NBC threw the tapes out at some point because they were like, why are we storing this crap? Because they're idiots.
Well, the thing about that performance is we go through so many great sections in this film. There's a particular section that I really love where Jim Brown is talking at the table with Malcolm X while Sam Cooke and Muhammad Ali went out looking for alcohol. Yeah, I get the joke there. And they're talking about even the difference in skin tone amongst Black people, where Jim Brown says to him, why is it that the lighter skinned African Americans always become more militant? Is it that they're trying to prove something to white people, or is that they're trying to prove something to Black people? I like that even amongst them, there is that feeling of where do I belong?
Mm-hmm. He has a really great line about, you know the drill. The lighter skin color girls hang on one side, the darker skin colored girls hang on the other side, and we are in the middle of it all. But you guys are always angry, and it's like you're trying to prove something.
When I look when I look at, say, for example, actresses and models of people of color from, say, the last 20, 30 years, sit down with pictures, compare them side by side by side. The difference between, I hope I don't offend anyone with these terminologies, but it's the best way that I can kind of figure out the warm and cool, dark to light tones here, is the difference between, say, milk chocolate and dark chocolate. It's everyone is skewing more lighter because it is more, say, appropriate. And I see that also in Indian cinema as well. The darker you are, for some reason, you're even less desirable in your own race. But the lighter, you don't feel like you belong in either side.
I think it's a great, like, that's one of the things that the questions that each of the characters asks in this movie, they're substantial questions. The idea, I think the one that stands out the most, like, I like sports, so I get Jim Brown. I love the idea that he basically took everything and just started doing movies. There's a whole sequence where he's talking to Muhammad Ali about, like, I just filmed a movie. It's easier on my knees. I got $37,000 to play a guy. And then he tells Muhammad Ali, I got killed. I get killed in the middle. He's like, oh, of course you do. I thought, how was I going to get past the point where a black action star doesn't get killed? Right?
I actually did the inflation on that $37,000, and it only comes up to about $375,000, which even
but the people in the 60s, if $37,000, that's life altering money. That's generational wealth. But Clay is also talking about the sport aspect of things, where he's filling arenas, he's doing all these things. But Cooke is the one that stands out. Like, Leslie Odom Jr. is really good. He can really sing. And the idea that Cooke is doing what he thinks he needs to do to make sure that everybody gets a shot. The idea that, that equality is not necessarily going to be fighting or protesting or running outside, but making sure everybody has money in their pocket to do whatever the hell they want to do.
Yeah.
Right. And the idea that he's doing it on he's doing it behind the scenes, and that Malcolm X doesn't really view it as important. But Jim Brown and Muhammad Ali explain very quickly, hey, if you have enough money, you can do whatever the hell you want. Right. Yeah. You don't have to deal with this shit. Right.
Which Muhammad Ali wouldn't understand. Not Muhammad Ali. Malcolm X wouldn't understand, as stated earlier on in the film. His car, his house, everything is owned by the nation.
Right. So, and you don't. Actually, Jim Brown also says something. You don't even have a job.
Yeah, I love that.
You don't even have a job. The rest of us are getting paid by white men. And we're okay with it because we need it to be okay.
You're not waiting on a check.
You're not waiting on a check because you don't even have a job. And Malcolm X takes offense, and then he goes, "I didn't mean it like that. I'm just stating the obvious." But obviously, Malcolm X is going through it at that moment. I think the script is really good. I think it's well done.
What I think makes this script work is They take four characters who, historically they knew each other. Cassius was definitely friends with Sam. And they all had their connections to each other. But they were all coming at the civil rights movement from different points of view. And I think the power of this film is it kind of lets us look back historically, even at an ahistorical event, and go, okay, this is what was going on within the movement. These were the different thoughts that, schools of thought that were trying to, how do we go forward, from this moment, which I think is very important to, get to our overall understanding of the 60s and the civil rights movement and everything else that happened through that decade. And of course, if you're including, the, like Natasha said, this stuff, you guys both touched on this stuff about, lighter skinned blacks versus darker skinned blacks, lighter skinned blacks having a tougher time. They don't get into it too much, but I've seen
just enough
other discussions where, it's like there's an envy almost of lighter skinned blacks because, in some cases they can pass. And now we're looking at a movie like Pinky with Gene Crane from the mid 1950s. I can't remember the exact year, but it was from 20th Century Fox. Well worth checking out. And
I think
has been used in other movies as well.
And I realize that all three of us are definitely not the demographic to be talking about that particular argument.
Yeah,
no.
But we can definitely the paler.
But as people that I'm just trying to be supporters, we're still living this moment, so we still have, like, the interesting thing about this movie getting made in 2021 is that these are heroes of the civil rights movement, and unfortunately, we're still banging this issue around. It's still rattling around in the proverbial mind cage of America. Let's get a comment. Hello. Hi, how you doing, Michael?
Hey, Mike.
Good to have you with us. Thank you for joining us. I think
Mike was part of our Porky's group.
Oh, good to have you, Mike. We want you back at some point.
Well,
we
can see how JW remembered you. Sorry, Mike.
Just a face in the crowd.
Oh,
just a face in the crowd. I didn't mean it that. I didn't mean it in a bad way. I'm just sorry I didn't realize. I don't have everybody's name. I'm 50. Let's go with that. Does that work, Rich? I'm 50.
Oh,
Michael, welcome, Michael. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you. It's the best I can do. And we do want you back, though. We definitely want you back. Okay. I think the other thing that needs to be talked about is she's definitely somebody that can work with actors. She's very good at what she does. The movie moves pretty fast. It's around 2 hours. It is full. It's got a lot of things going on.
The ending makes me cry every time.
Well, the ending, with these historical movies, especially when one of the people within the movie has been assassinated, which is not a spoiler alert, it's the truth that we have to deal with on a regular basis for these things. When somebody's assassinated,
to a bad end, unfortunately, just like 9 months after the events of this movie, he died in December of 1964.
Was it foreshadowed in the movie? Is it the drinking?
Really?
It is
not
not
really?
foreshadowed. It is foreshadowed via Malcolm X's paranoia, and he says that he's been feeling a dark foreboding of late, not of anxiety.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about Malcolm X. I'm talking about Sam Cooke. Malcolm X, there's stuff throughout the entire movie. He's looking at that Budweiser sign at the end where people are paying other people with, just bad news. Also, his house gets firebombed, which is never really a great thing where you feel, safe and secure. I think the movie's really great, though. I think, I do thoroughly enjoy, of course, when people pile on. I remember Mike. I'm just saying. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate you. Just kick me while I'm down. I think the interesting thing is that when we have these historical movies, what I do like the most about this movie is it doesn't get wrapped up. It doesn't give the based on a true story or actual facts. It just says, the idea this could have kind of happened, and the idea that you just run with it, and then they put these characters in places, and they work so well. The performances are really good. Again, Leslie Odom especially, and I really do. I do like Hodges. Jim Brown is great because he looks just like him when he's on set at the end of the movie. Because his epilogue at the end of the movie is him sitting on the Dirty Dozen set, basically saying, "Today I have retired from the NFL to pursue a career in football," and that is a great place to jump in the next portion of things, which is the legacy. Now, the interesting legacy here is there's no franchise viability or anything like that, but the idea that we have movies that have historical bends and then we're always going to have them where somebody takes a look at a story and basically says, what if this person met this person and you suddenly get Napoleon? Or like it's something where we're always going to have the moment where could these people have met somewhere in real life and what would the meeting have been like, kind of thing. But also legacy, I think it made me at the end of it, I just want to go back and watch Jim Brown movies. I don't know. Like it made me go, I just definitely want to go find as many Jim Brown movies as possible. It's the same thing that happened to me when I was telling you this like 2 summers ago during the, like before the pandemic, as the pandemic was ending, and they had that amazing Paul Newman documentary. All I wanted to do was watch Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward movies for like a month straight, and that's all I did. I was knee deep in Paul Newman stuff I've never seen, Drowning Pool and all kinds of stuff.
The thing that really I started thinking about after I got done watching it was I'd really love to just dive into films that are specifically set during the civil rights movement. Maybe even biographies of said characters or biographies of characters. Like I saw Malcolm X with Denzel Washington when I was a kid. I've seen Ali. I'd love to sit down and rewatch Selma and another great one that came out the same year as this movie, Judas and the Black Messiah. And there's
fantastic movie.
Fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to really just kind of dive into that time period and just soak up as just much history as humanly possible that I don't really feel like I have been completely exposed to as a whole. One of the things I really loved about this, so I was sitting here watching this movie yesterday, rewatching it. My husband was in the next room in his study looking through, and he goes, I can't read what's on the paper at the end when he sees Malcolm. And I go, the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Yeah, he finished his book, right? Yeah.
And I looked over and I go, wait, didn't Alex Haley write Roots? And he goes, yes, he did. And my brain went, fuck, now I really just want to watch Roots because I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Yeah, I think when you get into you know, the ideas of where you can go and what you can do with these movies, you know, what happens if this person meets this person on a particular day. I don't think, like, part of us, we don't get enough of these movies with the idea of having all these characters, like, you know, important characters in the grand narrative getting thrown into it together and find out how they would react or whatever. We don't get enough of them in the sense that this world we live in now is very, I want, you know, just the facts. You know, the biggest hit on Netflix is the American Nightmare movie, right? Where it's just, I just want the cold hard facts of what actually happened. And
What's
so I don't, it's a trashy, you know, Southern American couple doing shady shit is essentially, but I think one of the things we've gotten away from, and it's just something, we used to have movies where it asked big questions and had, you know, heroes and people that answered big questions. Like Rich and I, we did In the Heat of the Night, right? The idea that Sidney Poitier doesn't get nominated for the Oscar and comes out of that movie a bigger star is important, right? In the grand scheme of things. And so I think it's a really interesting thing when you have these movies that really challenge, ask big questions, don't have the answers. Just have a conversation about, like, you know, 4 of the most important African-American men in the nation's history. You know, if you had a top 100 list, all 4 of them are on the list somewhere.
Please.
Oh no, I totally lost my train of thought. But I was going to say, like, the four of the most important people asking big questions at a table in a hotel room becomes a compelling entertainment when you have the right director and the right script and the right actors portraying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's an amazing thing. The legacy here is go out, learn some things, watch some history, figure some things out, jump and see if you can, I feel like I'm going to go on a Jim Brown binge. It's due. It's long overdue.
I am the first one to say that I know what my personality type is. I'm known as ENTP, which is pretty much a debater. I really like the idea of sitting.
No.
I'm on a fucking podcast.
No.
So what did you expect?
No. You fight and debate about things? No. Okay, I'm being facetious. Go ahead, go. So you're ENTP. Go ahead.
And
stop looking up. Just look forward.
And I really like the idea of putting people in a room who come from different backgrounds and seeing what happens when they can find common ground on important topics, or at least shake you guys just enough to make you walk out of there thinking something different. It's kind of the philosophy I use when I do theater with the company I've been with for the last 5 years, Intrepidus,
right? Intrepidus?
Yeah. We do shows that ask questions. We've done quills about the Marquis de Sade. We've done Equus. Like we do things that challenge our audience, not just to deliver some sort of overall arc of everything I say is right. We don't want you leaving with the answers. We want you leaving with the questions. Go home.
I do want to say this film isn't as challenging as Quills or Equus. I just want to say it's easily accessible for anybody watching the show. Yes, it's a real easy watch. It's a real easy watch.
But it does ask questions and it proposes different answers from 4 different sides. It would be the same as if I do this. I'm going to start trying to do this once a month. I do a dinner party where I bring in different people of different backgrounds and then I swap them out the next month, just so everyone in the room is.
Don't you think it makes those people sad? Aren't those people sad if they don't get invited back?
No, I'll bring them back every, in like a few months, but it allows everyone a chance to.
Does Rich get to go every time?
Yeah, Rich has been there.
No, but does he get to go every time
though?
Not every time.
Really? Oh my goodness!
If he was there every time, he would hog the scene, and then there would become cliques. The whole point is there are supposed to be no cliques.
The Rich Drees clique, really?
Questions.
No one's forming a clique around me. Holy.
Yeah, that's what I like. The Rich Drees clique.
Rich, where were you standing at the Christmas party? In the hallway with the clique of filmmakers.
Were you under the mistletoe, Rich?
No.
Yeah, it was saddest fucking night of my life.
Amazing.
But this is the kind of thing that I thoroughly love, is the idea. Thanks, Joe. I'm sure he'll be thrilled to hear that.
I joined Rich's clique. There you go. Let's see. Joe also writes, speaking of legacy and different backgrounds, I'd love for the Indiescape folks to have a mutual legacy. As mentioned in the group chat earlier, I'd like for the network as a whole to make said documentary. Would greatly appreciate if the 3 of you would consider being involved. Let's talk soon. Joe wants to do a documentary about us.
Oh, boy.
That's a terrible idea.
Well, I just see like the young Natasha. I'm a debater.
I am.
I'm all for it. I do want to say the other legacy here. Another legacy here is Regina King is being very, very careful with where she directs and what she directs. She's directed several TV shows, several episodes of several shows that you would be like, really? She directed that? Like Southland, Scandal, The Catch, Animal Kingdom, Greenleaf, Pitch, This Is Us, she directed an episode of. Shameless, she directed an episode of. The Good Doctor, she's directed an episode of. Insecure, the Issa Rae show. The Finest. So she is not only...
It makes sense.
Well, no, but she's keeping it very, like, she's learning how to do things on different size budgets and moving around. And also the idea,
different size stories. Some, like, Scandal is a political drama. You're also looking at Shameless. Name a couple of others again. What were they?
Scandal, Shameless, Greenleaf, Pitch, This Is Us, The Good Doctor. These are all one episode offs. Actually, Scandal she did 2. Being Mary Jane, she did 6.
The Good Doctor have a feeling of almost like stage play-ish, and the same with Scandal, where they could be almost...
She is working on a miniseries called A Man in Full, which is currently in post-production. She's also working on possibly her next directorial effort called Bitter Root. So she's got a future with this, but she's also been working really hard. All of those things occurred before the movie, the episodes of television, and then the movie occurs, and now she's working on the next movie and a miniseries, called A Man in Full. So, she might end up becoming a very good director. A Man in Full. A Man in Full, by the way, just so we're clear, is Tom Wolfe. David E. Kelley is working on it. Regina King, David E. Kelley, Matthew Tinker, and how about this cast, kids? Jeff Daniels, John Michael Hill, Nathan Rudd, L. Warren Young, Bill Camp. So, limited series for Netflix is the next thing she's working on. Of course, and it's Tom Wolfe's 1998 novel about a late middle-aged Atlanta conglomerate king and a young lawyer who defend a black football player accused of a crime. So it seems right up her alley.
No one's ever gone wrong adapting a Tom Wolfe novel to a movie.
Not touching that one.
Says I object, says the Bonfire of the Vanities.
That's why I was like, not touching that one.
But that's interesting. Like that's kind of what I'm saying, though. The idea that you made this movie and then you're working on something else, but you're working on a Tom Wolfe adaptation, which is not what I would say. Although the people involved, like David E. Kelley, is pretty. That's pretty solid. Like that's. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that's and I guess there's a teaser trailer also, and it looks like it's going to be something pretty big for Netflix. Diane Lane's in it as well, so it's something they're working on. I think it got cut a little short. It got kind of fell right in the middle of the all the strikes. But she's somebody to watch out for.
So throughout the entirety of our female directors collection,
I was excited that you picked a movie where a bunch of people didn't get murdered. Except one person got murdered. One person got murdered and was bad at the end. But just first one where one of the ones where But you've blended. What you've done is you've had 2 psycho movies and 2 historical dramas, which are interesting. Like it says a lot about you, Miss Debater. It has a lot.
True. I did want to stay away from the cliche of romantic comedies for women. That was very much.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you tell me which one is the best director of the 4?
The best director?
Who you think is the best, most talented director of the 4?
Oof. Interesting.
I'm going to go with Mary Herron.
Yeah, that's an easy choice, really.
Yeah.
Heron's really good.
I would say Sofia Coppola is
Coppola's hit or
probably-
miss.
huh?
She's hit or miss.
She is hit or miss, but her overall arc, her formula
is interesting. Yeah, her formula is interesting. It's evolving
across the board.
I think Regina King has potential, but I think I envision Regina King not necessarily sticking with film. I think she will become like a TV, like her own kind of subsection of television. You know what I mean?
See that. Yeah.
I get like a Shonda Brown, kind of person.
Shonda
I feel
Rhimes.
like Shonda Rhimes. I'm sorry.
I was watching Bridgerton last night. I would know.
It is what it is. But I also think the interesting thing about the 4 movies we watched, this is the only one that where the female, like, it's a movie about 4 men and there are barely any women in it. There's only 2 or 3 scenes with females in it, and it is one of like, so the idea that she made a movie that basically I can hang with guys. They're just actors to me.
The
right?
way I looked at it when I was creating or curating.
Curating.
Yeah, curating.
Curating's a better word for you. It makes you look more debater.
When I was curating this collection was I wanted to look at how you could take a women's perspective, as men have been doing for the last 80 years of film.
Not well. By the way, just
hang on.
Throwing it out there.
And apply it to both films that are male-centered and female-centered. And really kind of come at that from that outside perspective. So you look at American Psycho, which is a very feminist film, but for most men, they don't really kind of get the feminist side. They just go
again, the scariest portion of the American Psycho concept was that's one of the more watched movies by our U.S. military. Whenever they're stuck somewhere by themselves, that scared me to death. But
and directed by a woman, which I find
written by a woman, incredible. Marie Antoinette, I think, of the 4,
those in most desperate need of getting the joke will not get the joke.
Marie Antoinette, I think, is probably the weakest of the 4, only because I think for me, it's the one that I think as I'm walking away from this curation by you, that's the one I don't ever think. I may go back, but I probably never will. Each of the other ones, I feel I will go back to. Oh, like obviously American Psycho I'll go back to because that could get watched anytime I hang out with a bunch of guys. Hey, let's pop in The Departed or American Psycho.
I love that you say that you think Marie Antoinette is the weakest of the 4, considering that amongst the younger generations, that is out of the 4. That one is the most easily accessible to get into. And
I could see that.
Very watchable.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. It's got a cream puff quality to it. It's beautiful to look at and it's easy to listen to, and I could easily see that. I think I think The Love Witch is probably the biggest shocker for me in the sense that, for all its bells and whistles, it is really just a well done, well crafted movie that loves movies that I love. So I'm completely down with it. You know what I mean? Like it totally gets, throws on its ear all the stuff that we love with Hammer. But this is a show about loving movies, and also it's Oscar season, as you may all know. And so it is time again, Rich.
Yes.
For the Oscar decade cavalcade. The legacy franchise. Okay. So this year we're cutting it down a little bit only because we have other things planned. So I want to tell you we have other things planned that everybody is going to be super happy about. So we've cut the Oscar decade legacy cavalcade down, but it doesn't mean this is a year where we're going to, because we're cutting it down, Rich, we're going to would you say we're going to knock it out of the park with quality? We're going to do some big classics. Okay, so from the 40s, we're going to do this little movie here. Some people may have seen it. It's this little movie called Casablanca. As many of you know, I'm on a Humphrey Bogart kick, to be honest.
Next week.
Rewatch that is next week. It is next week.
Can I come on?
What?
Oh, all right.
We're just getting rid of you. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Of course you
not
can.
wanted. Joe, Ken, he's being mean to me.
Oh my God! Don't do that. You're too good for that. I know it'll work, but don't do that.
I know.
You don't need to do that anyway.
See, Joe says wahoo. Woohoo.
You don't need to do that, Joe. She's coming back anyway.
She stays.
Jesus. She stays. Okay, whatever. It's good to know where the knives would be stuck.
Look,
anyway, so Casablanca's okay. Shush.
Really quick. Here's the thing about Casablanca. As time goes by is actually my wedding song. So
nice.
Now you've got to let me come on.
Two things. My first off, my wedding entrance was of course the Imperial theme, and then the Imperial theme from Empire Strikes Back, the absolute best Star Wars film, and then of course our wedding dance was the song from Notting Hill, the Notting Hill song.
Oh, when you say nothing at all, or
when you say nothing at all. When you say nothing
I
at
love
all.
that song.
It's a good song. This is our 50s movie this year, The Greatest Show on Earth. We've picked this for several reasons, but one of the things that Rich and I, maybe people will pick up on it when we get there. Rich, we shouldn't tell anybody how and why we pick these movies in a particular way, right? No. They're going to have to guess at what these movies tend to have in common, including Little Miss Debater Pants. She's going to have to come up with how we pick these movies. So Casablanca first, Greatest Show on Earth. Of course, classic, made more classic last year with The Fabelmans, as clearly displayed that this is the movie that Spielberg saw that led to him wanting to make films, which, again, I've seen it. It's interesting. Also has Jimmy Stewart as a clown. Can't really go wrong with Jimmy Stewart as a clown. Then we jump to the 70s, Rich, and you and I have long debated on the show whether or not we want to highlight movies that we love that maybe don't get as much press, or do we go for the big guns? And with this Oscar Decade Cavalcade, we're going big guns, and we're going to make people an offer they can't refuse. Right? So we're doing the Godfather. Well, you can come back if you watch it. It's 3 hours of your life.
Coming.
It's a great 3 hours. I will say to everybody who are Godfather fans, we had debated. I often debate and will still stick to this all day, every day. I think The Godfather Part 2 is better than Godfather 1.
That, but I want to know.
It's the truth. It's not just everybody says it. It's the truth, because the De Niro stuff at the front is just bonkers. So that's our 70s movie. We're not going to do every decade. We're going to jump around a little bit. We're going to then jump to the 90s. And, again, we talked about heavy hitters. We talk about big guns. And why not you have a movie that has a big gun on a poster? Like that.
Ugh.
Look at the gun, Rich.
Now, this is a movie I didn't like a whole lot when it first came out, and I've never gone back to it. So I'm anxious actually to give it a second watch.
Okay, so here's an interesting fun fact about Unforgiven. This is weird. I'm gonna agree with you. I don't necessarily, the idea that it's a deconstructionist Western to me has always made me kind of like, because, and this is gonna sound weird, it says it's a deconstructionist Western that eventually falls right into the tropes of every Western. So anyway.
Sorry,
whatever.
When it comes to 90s Westerns, Quick and the Dead still takes the cake.
Oof. That's a tough sell for the Unforgiven crowd. I'm not going to lie to you.
Joe, don't tempt me. I've never done any of them.
No one will watch a 7-hour chronological order of The Godfather with me. Joe, we didn't say no. We just, again, at the top of the show, I told everybody why I was a little bit late and why I had insurance issues all day today. They were not fun. They mopped up a good portion of my day. And when you get off the phone with insurance companies, I don't know about the rest of you. All I want to do is bang my head off a wall. I had to take a nap. I showered before the show just because I needed to get the insurance ick off of me. Like, it was just terrible. But we can do the 7-hour chronological order, but you only have to watch The Godfather for the show. Anyway, also
12 hours.
So we're doing Unforgiven, and then we're gonna jump. We're gonna jump, and we're gonna talk about a movie that maybe doesn't get the credit it deserves. Maybe it's a movie you may have seen, but for me, it has become an eminently watchable film along the lines of The Social Network, and it's just a movie I can watch whenever I pop in on it because it's got a great cast, it's a great movie.
Is it what I think it is?
And it's a
yes.
That one, unfortunately, Natasha, we can't invite you to.
Why?
I'm kidding. I'm joking. It's too easy. It's too easy with this, Rich. That's our. You can still come, Natasha. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Promise?
No, I'm not. No. But so we're gonna jump around a little bit. The Casablanca, Greatest Show on Earth, The Godfather, Unforgiven, and Spotlight. And the reason we're jumping around, Rich, the reason we're moving things around, because we did say this at the end of last year. Not only are the Oscars happening, but say it loud, say it proud. Bondathon 2024 is coming. Yay! So we have a lot of things going on. We have Bondathon 2024 coming after the Oscars. We will have a couple weeks off here and there. We're also going to have a movie that may or may not have a big sequel coming out that we have already talked about on the show. Just going to leave it at that. We also have some things coming up that we want everybody to talk about, everybody to know about. I, of course, am going to MegaCon this weekend. Going to be looking. There's an indie horror film festival that's getting a lot of raves. If you're creative, have a new indie movie trailer, commercial. If you have product that you would like to have a picture on a show, email it to us. We'll play it on an upcoming Indie Escape Network show for free. We have another show that's in the works right now, which is going to skew a little younger for Natasha's taste instead of a lot of old white guys running around.
Wow.
Yeah. I have a show.
Our audience taste instead of for mine.
What?
How about for some new audience members? Not just.
No. Well, no. It's more. No, it's for everybody, but we're going to skew a little bit younger, is what I was saying. Okay. We have a couple kids, Harry Kronetsky and Morgan, his fiance. They're going to do a fun little show about dating and being engaged and being two different types of movie fans. So we're going to and the way the pitch is going, it's either going to be called Cinedates or something like that is what we're thinking about, or the movie, we can't do movie couple because it's already taken because you have to go looking for things, but they're a cute couple. They have really eccentric tastes in movies.
On an evening in cinema.
Possibly. His first movie for her is going to be Metropolis by Fritz Lang.
Good one.
And her first movie for him is going to be Crossroads with Britney Spears. So it's going to be, and that's coming in February. They're very cute. They're very talented. He was in my improv. He was a student of mine for improv. So he's very quick and he's like butter with her. He's very they're a cute little couple, and it's an interesting way, and also just so we're clear, the funniest thing happened. I don't know if you guys are paying attention, but Crossroads got announced that it's finally coming to streaming. So this show was destined to happen, I tell you.
Are we sure it's not the 1986 Ralph Macchio version of Crossroads?
No, it's a Britney Spears Crossroads. You shut your mouth, Rich. Nobody will
We
want to
only
be part of your
talked about
clique.
Britney Spears Crossroads.
Hey, it's all about
you all
an
rock.
actual blues musician, Robert Johnson.
Thanks for all you do. Looking forward to all these episodes and new shows. The new kids are cool. Going to watch. He got to meet them last week. Going to watch my first Bond film next weekend to prep. What Bond film are you going to watch, Joe?
Yeah.
We haven't announced those yet. Be careful, Joe. Start at the beginning. Start with Dr. No. Start with Dr. No. What's wrong with Dr. No?
Hashtags Rich's click. Oh, that's not how you spell click, girl, dude. So,
dude, girl, really? That was not your most eloquent. The wine's getting to you.
Yeah,
where can people? So also just finishing up because we're a tangent group of people. We also have the NEPACon, a Nerd Utopia, February 17th and 18th. Co-hosted at NEPA Comic-Con, co-hosted by the at Fun Times Cosplay Crew, at Driving MKMN 83, and hosted by the Moon Ballroom, which of course is in Dixie City across from the Circle Drive-In, one of my old hangouts and favorite places to go in Pennsylvania. And we're doing Hong Kong as well, so which is coming up in Daytona in a week, 2 weeks. So lots of things going on. Natasha, where can people find you when you're not showing up and hanging out with us?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I got things coming up. Right now is the dead season where we're just kind of like beating the streets, looking for things to do. But Rich, would you like to share a little bit of good news about a certain someone's directorial debut?
Yeah, it's good. I think she's talking about your movie.
Oh, that thing. I'm
Jesus
sorry.
Rich doesn't get a click. His click is gone. Go ahead.
Anywho, first off, very excited and proud to announce that my directorial short film debut, which I also wrote, but I've written a couple of other things that have been produced, called This Way to the Egress, has been accepted into its first film festival, the Northeast PA Film Festival, which will be April 12th through the 14th. So keep your eye out because we'll be beating the bushes with promotional as it gets closer to that date.
I would hope we would get to be partially of the debut of the trailer or whatever first things. I will learn how to do the video so we can premiere the trailer on here.
Yeah, Natasha and I have been cooking up a lot of things for Cineverse over the next couple of months that we will unveil when it gets closer to the time to do such things. We have
actually receive one in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, that's very exciting.
We do have This Way to the Egress out to a number of festivals, about 10 or 11 so far, and we're looking at another 8 to 10 to submit to as well over the next couple of months.
Joe,
so
stop. You get your turn.
We'll mention this then. But okay, I'm sorry. Back to you. You have more to promote there yourself, Natasha?
No, wait.
Yeah, I'm going to say Gilda.
Oh,
in a couple of weeks.
Thank you for killing it, JW Program Director. Congrats, Rich, and all involved.
Thank you, Joe.
Something I can view, Rich. Yeah, maybe. Eventually. Where else can people find you if they want to talk about your writing or if you want to talk about cool movie news and stories?
Natasha had one more thing she needed to promote first.
What are you promoting?
I was already trying to when I said they might receive something in a couple
Why
of
are you
weeks.
talking to a tree? Talk to the audience. There you go.
I'm talking to Rich.
I know, but talk straight. Hi. What do you want to promote? Go.
Oh, I thought you were promoting Page Stage. I'm sorry.
Well, what is happening around the same time as Page to Stage?
This is Jeopardy.
Be announced when it's time to announce.
Well, I'm announcing. We will soon, we don't know where yet, but we will be publicly releasing our short film, 8 Years with Gilda, within the next 2 weeks.
She's not really good at secrets,
And
Rich.
also The Test.
It's my film. I can release it when I want it.
Also, our film The Test and our film Reese's Pieces. I think we're gonna have those all out and available fairly soon.
I told you what I thought Reese's Pieces was about before we actually talked about it, right?
Yeah,
I thought it was like some guy like that was scamming a bunch of ladies. Reese's Pieces.
That's amazing. Why did
I know, right? How amazing is it? It'd be incredible. I should write that. I'll talk to you about an idea I have in a second, but the three of us might be able to cook something up. Rich, you can find stuff at FilmBuff Online too, Rich.
Yes. All of my writing is at filmbuffonline.com. We've got some Oscar coverage coming up. In fact, tomorrow we have a piece from my good friend Bill Gata-Vasquez, who's also appeared on Loud and Nerdy with JW.
Yes.
On why he has fallen out of love with the Academy Awards. It's a great piece.
That is great. If I didn't have a guest for tomorrow night, I'd be inviting him on. But
I don't agree with everything he says in it, but he argues his points really well. And it gave me some food for thought. It's a great piece. I think it's going live. I think I have it scheduled for 9:30 tomorrow morning. So keep your eye out for that. Just popping over to filmbuffonline.com.
Bill was great.
If you go
Bill was
to
great on the show. Very funny. But he's a Steelers fan, so we should jade him.
If you go to our Facebook page, you will also get a notification when the story goes live through our Facebook page. My personal socials are at FilmBuffRich on Twitter and on Blue Sky. I also do a second podcast with my lovely co-host down there, Natasha Bogutzki, called The Big Picture Podcast, and that's available at bigpicturepod.com or all of your usual podcast outlets.
Rich, can you say that word again for me, please?
What word? I just said about 400 words. Which word?
The company owned by Elon Musk.
It's Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah, we don't say X.
He didn't say Twitter. He said Twitter.
Twitter. Well, that's okay. He's erudite. He does that. Yeah. You can find me
up too when I said it.
Yes. Also, he was sipping tea. If you didn't notice, you can find all my stuff. JW the Movie Guy on Facebook. JW the Movie Guy on Twitter, not X. He can blow me. Actually, he can't. I'm gonna say no. You can also find me on Threads. JW the Movie Guy. You can find me on Instagram, which I'm just getting into, so bear with me. It happens every once in a while. You can also find me on Tuesday nights with some fun guys. We do this little show called Loud and Nerdy, and tomorrow night we have a guest on Loud and Nerdy at Tuesday at 9 p.m. We are going to have Dave Romeo on from Comics on the Green in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Oh, Dave!
One of the best comic book guys in the world, and he is going to go over all the important stuff that you need to buy this coming year in comics, including Thundercats, which comes out in February. So be ready, kids.
I'll tell you what I've been excited about, which just came out like last week or 2 weeks ago. Marvel is finally collecting all the issues in the new omnibus of ROM.
I know ROM. It's a sci-fi Marvel book.
Yeah, it's based on a toy from the 80s. They lost the license years ago. No one ever thought they would bother to get it back to reprint any of this stuff. So it's kind of
exciting. Know if you know this, Natasha.
Manslow wrote it, and he's a fantastic writer.
At the end of the day, we're nerds. That's what we are. That's who him and I are.
I'm a nerd too, just on different
stuff.
Also, later in this year, on the same toy adaptation kick, Marvel is going to be doing omnibuses of the Micronauts.
Yeah, okay, you definitely fucking lost me.
Ever.
Yeah, we've completely lost Natasha. But we have a lot of things coming up. Oscar Decade Cavalcade, followed by the Bondathon 2024, and then this summer's Generation movie. We are going to go back and look at 84, 94, 2004, and find what we can. And that's going to be our full summer. We're going to take some time off here and there, but for the most part, we're going to be back for a good portion of the year. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see everybody next week.
Yeah.
Next week's movie, if you want to watch along and see it first, Casablanca. If you've never seen it, you should. And if you have seen it, you should watch it again so you can discuss with us follow along. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see everybody next week for Casablanca, Monday, February 5th, 10 p.m. Generation Movie Oscar Decade Cavalcade begins. Boom. Have a great night. Stay safe. And we'll see everybody next week.
Emperor's New Groove now.
Why? I guess. I mean,
thank you.